All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Big waves to you. Good to see you. Going into the weekend. We're going into the weekend. Petra, I see you late. If you could grab some milk for me, okay? Or almond milk, okay, if you're on the approved, okay. Um, Good to see everybody this morning. And happy Friday to you, Al Diaz. Quit laughing at me, buddy. I told you yesterday, if you're not having fun, right? So today we're going to finish out the week. And I see my son on too. What's up, Peyton Palmer? Good to see you, buddy. So the word for today is bamboozled. Have you ever felt like you've been bamboozled? I guess I should read the definition first. It means being tricked, deceived, a little bit confused, usually in a clever or sneaky way. You've been bamboozled. Let me tell you, I could write a book, I think, about bamboozle. Um, I could go in so many different directions today. But what I thought about going in a direction, because Andrea has been with me here for over 15 years now. And sometimes I drive her nuts. I know that's a shocker for all of you. But I'm going to talk to you about how I drive her nuts with bamboozle. Okay. And don't tell anybody. This is a secret between the coaches' corner this morning. Okay. We might have to sign an NDA here. So to be bamboozled is to feel like you've been taken for a ride. Okay, I don't know how else to say it. Like misled, fooled, blindsided. Okay. So a wise person told me one time, and I think about like my real estate company, like business, dealing in apartments or whatever. I think about that. We At times I tell the group when we meet, we do Zooms or something, and we meet as a group, and I'm like, listen, guys, we ride with the person until we realize they're taking us down the wrong road. And then we got to quit riding with them. Does that make sense? And it drives Andrea nuts because she's like, why are you doing that? Like, you're being bamboozled, but you just continue to ride a little bit further. So let me share. I hope I can do this word justice. But in my world, I really, really want to trust people. I really, really want to believe people. I have been bamboozled for looking at where I want to go and where I think we're going and having doubt that I'm really going, like, if this is the correct way, I feel like we're going this way. But I sometimes tend to go down this way just a little bit further than everybody else, which sometimes costs me money, sometimes costs me a little more stress. But at the end of the day, when I jump off the car and go this direction, I feel confident inside that I've been bamboozled. So now it's time to depart ways, right? Have you ever been that person that has thought you were being bamboozled and you really wasn't? It's kind of embarrassing when you got to tuck. So I'm probably the person that goes a little further. Okay. So if it's a lot of times when we're hiring people, like say a plumbing service or this service, I'll always tell them, just treat us right, we'll treat you right. You'll never have to worry about getting paid from us. We're going to pay on time. We'll hunt you down to pay you. Just don't overcharge us, right? Just don't bamboozle us because we're willing to be that person that pays you on time and does the right thing. Don't take advantage of us because you'll get a lot more money out of me through the life of our property management rather than trying on one property to make the most. Does that make sense? So I try to have those conversations, but then occasionally I'll have people that'll take me down that road and I have to let it play out. And then once it plays out, it might cost me $100 more or $1,000 more. but at least at that point, I know it's time to jump and go in a different direction. Okay. Same way in business. Like when I look at someone and Andrea, is this where you wanted me to go this morning? So in business, in networking, right? Partnership marketing, it's like do the right thing. Even if it costs you some money, do the right thing. And sometimes, right, people are people, right? And you get partnered with people and you see like, man, they're not doing the right thing. Well, if they're not going to do the right thing, guess what? They're not going to do the right thing with you at some point. So it's not companies, it's not this, it's not that. It's just humans, right? It's humans. We could take it in. You think that happens in religion? You think that happens in just everyday relationships? You think it happens in families? You think it happens in business? Like it's just the way life is with humans. So first of all, I want to be a person that people feel like I'm upfront. They can come to me. I'm not going to bamboozle them, but I also want to be a person, and I'm going to turn it to you, Andrea, that I want to be wise in the fact that I want to walk with patience, even if I'm questioning a few things. But when it shows its face, then I feel confident I can depart from that relationship and move in a different direction. Does that make sense? And I'm just talking about myself. I screw up all the time, right? So I don't want you to think I'm perfect, but I do have some ways that I govern myself, and I think it drives Andrea crazy when she sees it. She's like, "You should have jumped off that out of that car like like 4 months ago, and you kept headed down that road." So, Andrea, I'll turn it to you. I
I
don't know
have
if
to
this made any sense in the world, but it did to me this morning with Bamboozle. So, you know, at least laugh at me or smile at me, make me feel like I at least gave you some kind of value this morning. All right, I'll turn it to you, Andrea.
It made sense to me. I will admit I was so scared when you were going to talk about bamboozle in terms of me, because I'm like, are you just going to tell everybody all the ways you bamboozled me and that I didn't notice? Right? Like maybe I have no idea.
Not at all.
But no, we do differ in that because I think I'm a little quicker to jump off a boat sometimes. I am incredibly fiercely probably loyal to a fault, but then there's other times where you feel it, right? Like you know that intuition, and you're going So there's a few times. One time, I think actually I ended up kind of a hero in the story, but there's been a few times where I'll argue a little bit because I think he's being bamboozled, and but sometimes he still goes for it, but sometimes he trusts me. But
Yeah,
anyway, I
okay,
love
we're going
this.
to tell them this story. Okay. If anybody ever wants you to wire money and put donation on it, be careful, right? So that one time that happened, and she's like, I don't, Brenda, she said, I don't think that is a good idea. And I'm like, oh no, it's great. It's, I trust. Well, luckily I didn't, and it was not a great idea. So, hey, that saved me some money. So thanks, Andrea, for that.
Yeah, so I said I won't do it. So I know that you're asking me to do this, but I'm saying no. If you want to continue with this, it will be on you. And so we had a little bit of a tiff there, but I was right. This one time I was right. But anyway, the quote that I found was, don't be bamboozled by smoke and mirrors. Truth doesn't need a disguise. And I love that. But then I was kind of thinking about my life, and usually I've got this pretty good gut in a variety of ways, and usually it leads me in the right direction, but sometimes it doesn't. So what I looked into is, okay, none of us want to be bamboozled, though it is a really fun word to say. So thank you for that, Marlene. But what do I do in order to not get bamboozled? How does this happen? So, first of all, I've got to question what doesn't feel right. And if you have ever heard Brent pretend to be me, one of the things he'll say is, let me ask a clarifying question. Because I probably do say that 87,000 times in a day. Because I do. I'm like, I don't quite understand. May I ask a clarifying question? May I ask a clarifying question? May I ask 17 questions? And, sometimes we just have to question what doesn't feel right. And if something sounds too good to be true, Your gut is probably telling you something. We have incredible wisdom inside of us if we just stop doubting it and actually listen sometimes. Next is don't assume, verify. So this kind of aligns with it, but get details, check facts. Don't just believe what's being said to you, because you know what? Fast talkers love assumptions. When, somebody's running through and they're like, yeah, 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 sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable to say, slow down for a second. I don't quite get this. This isn't quite clear to me. Sometimes it helps to slow them down so we can get that clarity. Next is to watch for distractions. So if someone or something is overly flashy, is really vague, they might just be trying to hide something. You ever ask a question and they're like, and they're kind of like going in a whole different direction? I'm kind of thinking about getting pulled over, right? But if they ever, you ever see that, then there's a chance that they are trying to bamboozle us. Number four is to take your time. Being bamboozled thrives on urgency. So if we're just not quite feeling it, take a moment, breathe for a second. Maybe we don't have a lot of doubts. Maybe this is just a good thing to practice anyway. But to breathe, read the fine print, just pause for a moment and see if it still looks good after a little bit of a break. Next is to get a second opinion. Run things by someone else who isn't emotionally involved. Sometimes we think we're logical creatures, but guess what? We're emotional creatures covered in logic, right? There's logic on the outside, but it's all driven by emotions on the inside. And so there's power in saying, okay, let me run this by you. Can I walk through something with you? Because it's hitting me in all these ways, and they can just say, don't know if this is the best idea for you or your life or whatever you're doing. You might need to question such and such. And then lastly, and this kind of ties into so many of our lessons, but stick to your values. Because when we know what we stand for, when we know what's really important to us, it's really hard to sway us and it's really hard to fool us. So love that. And our goal is to make bamboozle just a fun word that we laugh about and we enjoy, but not something that we live through. So I love this one. And guys, remember, we got to bring our A game in this birthday song today.
Yeah, we do have a birthday song to sing, so clear your voice. But before we do, I just want to let everybody know how many of you were bamboozled by a pet rock. Eric Drain from North Carolina in the comments, like, they bamboozled me at some point with a pet rock. And then Hill Blues, like, and they did me too. Okay? Come on now. You know you got bamboozled by the pet rock too.
Can can I
Come on,
just say
especially when
that
they painted the pet rock. It's like, oh my gosh, it's got to be. I got to have
I
that thing.
always wanted a pet rock. I never had one. I think I'm gonna go make myself one today.
Yeah, you would have named the pet rock.
We'll get you
You would have
one
had a
mate,
name
Andrea.
for
We're
it.
gonna
Okay,
get you a pet
Okay.
rock mate.
we'll get you a pet rock. And okay, here we go. Chris Flynn out of Canada. She is such an amazing, amazing part of our Coaches Corner community and have been. So let's sing to her this morning. Happy birthday, Chris.
All right.
Happy
Happy
Birthday
birthday.
birthday
to
to
you.
Happy
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday.
birthday
to
to
Happy
you.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday,
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 dear
dear
Happy
Chris.
birthday
Happy
to
birthday to
you.
you.
And many
Hey, Chris, let's get a pet rock today.
more.
Love you, Chris.
you guys. Have a great weekend.
You
Great
guys have
weekend
a
Wednesday,
beautiful
Thanks,
Chris.
day.
Chris.
Be blessed.